Hi, it's Carolyn. I'm here to help you learn how to bake and decorate amazing cakes. And in this video, I am giving you my top 5 and my bottom 5 cakes that I made in 2023. I don't know about you, but at the end of why did I do that? At the end of the year, I like to just reminisce and take a look back at all of the cakes that I made. And I thought I would give you a list of my 5 most loved, and most hated is a little harsh. It's just my bottom 5 cakes that kind of annoyed me or gave me some issues or I didn't like the way that they turned out. So let's start with cake number 5 of my least favorite cakes of the year. And that is this sunflower cake design. But this cake looked a lot better in my head as I was creating it than how it turned out. I think the brown airbrushing in between the white wood paneling is too harsh. I think I went a little crazy with my airbrush gun. Is it horrible? No, it's not horrible, but it could have been a lot better. On to cake number 4. And that is this teddy bear hot air balloon cake. Now, it is a cute design. It is not bad. However, there are things about it that bothered me. Number 1 is the ombre effect of the waves. She wanted the top tier to go from light to dark and then the bottom tier from dark to light. I thought it would have looked so much better if it just started from light and then faded all the way to dark at the bottom. And also, the bear on the top, he is too small, the basket is too big, and the balloon is too small. So my proportions were all off on that top tier. The little teddy bears on the side of the cake are cute, and I do like the color palette on this one. However, I just know I could have done a little bit better with this design. And I always say I learn the most from my mistakes. So now I know next time if I'm making a cake with a hot air balloon and a basket, then I need to make the proportions a little better. On to cake number 3. And that is this Beyblades cake. Now, what was I thinking when I did this design? I think it was probably one of those weeks where I was overworked, overstressed, and this was the result of it. She wanted red, orange, and yellow colors, and Beyblades are just so annoying. They are so detailed, and I feel like they only look good if I do it in an edible image, and then the edible images look weird, and I don't know why I did that icing on the top and that weird drip on the one side of the cake, and it's just a mess. However, I do remember the guy who picked it up, he did end up tipping me 20 because I was apologizing profusely for this design. But I just know that I was not in my best creative mindset when I made this cake. On to cake number 2. And that is this toolbox cake that I made. And the reason that I don't like this cake is the story behind it because it was so annoying. So the lady who ordered this, she wanted a legit looking toolbox cake with the sharp edges and everything. And I quoted her a price. I can't even remember what it was, like $550 or $600. She said that was too much and she wanted to know what I could do for $300. And I said with that design, it was going to be like, I don't know, $350 to $400. But this is what she did, and I'm telling you, this has happened to me in the past, and it probably has happened to you, and every time it happens, I never get any more business. It's when people say, you're gonna get so much business from this cake. I promise you, everyone's gonna take your cards and you're gonna be so busy after this cake. And I ended up doing the cake for $300 because it was the end of January. I had no other cakes and I was like, whatever, I'll just do something really simple. And I used a mold to make the tools and it really didn't take that long. But of course, she picked up the cake. I never heard anything from anyone at the party. I never heard back from her. It's just one of those things, I don't know about you, but when people give you empty promises of more business, you're going to be so busy and you're just like, really? I don't know. Something about that always rubs me the wrong way, so that's why I don't like this cake. And the number 1 cake that I made this year that I didn't like is this 90s themed cake, and there are a few reasons. It is a nice cake. However, it is a pain in the butt to make. Number 1, she wanted it to be short and wide, and I think this cake feeds over 100 people or 100 people or whatever. If I was gonna make a cake to feed 100, I would make it 4 tiers. If you've seen my other videos, I don't like making cakes like a 3-tier cake that's like an 8, 10, and a 12. I think it looks stupid. But I think this one is a 7-inch, 9-inch, and the bottom tier is a 3-layer 11-inch, and she didn't want a topper. She had a topper. She didn't want any other decorations. She wanted it to look just like a cake that she sent me. So the first reason I don't like it is because it's short and wide, and I just don't like short and wide cakes. The second reason is to do that fondant paneling. It is a nightmare. And I've had people ask me to post videos on how I do that paneling, and I just never made a video just because the process is so time consuming. So I refrigerate all of my cakes. I have to stack the cake, put it in the refrigerator for a few hours so the icing is really hard, then roll out the fondant that I want to do, like that big white piece. I have to roll it really tall and then get some piping gel on the cake where I want to put it, put the fondant up the cake and smooth it out, and then take an X-Acto knife and trim it. And trying to piece the other pieces around that white piece, it's just so annoying, and I just don't like making cakes like that. So the reason that this one was my #1 least liked cake of 2023 is just because of the annoyance factor. She was very happy with the cake. It was exactly what she wanted, so at least there's that. So on to my top 5 cakes that I made in 2023. And I lie when I say 5. I have to do 6 because this one is an honorable mention and I had to make the list because it was one of my favorites. And that is this kindergarten graduation cake. And this one was so much fun to make. It's based on another cake that I made. It's just a lot bigger. And I just love the owl and the paint splatter, and I just think it was so much fun. It was a little challenging doing the square tiers, and I have a video showing you how I ice square buttercream cakes, and I will link that down in the description. And I also have videos showing you how I do paint splatter. So just look in the description. I'm gonna link a bunch of different videos showing you how I do some of the techniques on the cakes that I show. And it's just one of my favorite cakes, so I had to include that. So here's my list of the top 5 cakes that I personally like the best. #5 is this cake here, and I don't even know if I'm gonna pronounce it right, Vegeta Cyan Super Blue or whatever it is. This is one of those cakes that was so simple and didn't get a lot of attention when I posted it. It is an edible image. I just love how I did the coloring in the background, the ombre icing, and I do have a video showing you how I do that. That'll be linked below. But I have the drip on the side, and that drip versus the drip on that Beyblade's cake, like that drip looks so much better. The way that I stack the candies and the icing, just everything about this cake I love so much. Unfortunately, I did not film how I make this cake though. Sorry about that. Cake #4 that was my favorite that I did this year is this sneaker shoebox cake. And the reason being is because I got way out of my comfort zone to make a 3D sneaker cake. And there is a video on YouTube that I followed to be able to make that. And I'm gonna link that down in the description for you. But the instructions were really easy to follow. I don't think that it's a voiceover tutorial. It's just showing you how they make it, but I was able to figure it out. And again, doing those stacked shoe boxes that were kind of offset, you have to make the top one a little smaller than the bottom one and make sure it's not hanging over the edge too much. So it is a little challenging to make sure everything is in the right position, but I just love how this turned out. This was for a bar mitzvah. And even better, I got this picture of Drew eating the sneaker. I think they saved the sneaker and they didn't eat it at the bar mitzvah party. They brought it home and then cut it and took the pictures. And I just love it. It made me so happy. My 3rd favorite cake of the year is this one that I made for my mom's best friend's grandson. I've known them since I was little, and this was for Drew, and he is a chef and he loves to bake, and if you know me, you know I love making food cakes, so this one was so much fun to do. I got to make the egg and the bacon and the pancakes and the beater blade and the rolling pin and the chocolate and everything. This one was just so much fun. It took me probably 3 or 4 days just to decorate it. It was really big. I did make a video on how I do the chocolate chip cookies and did talk about transporting tall cakes, but I was just so happy with how this turned out, and Drew absolutely loved his cake. Everyone there loved it. So this was another one that was a big success and was one of my favorite cakes. My second favorite cake of the year that I made is this Iron Man cake. I did film a full cake decorating tutorial showing you how I make this, and that will be linked in the description. But I just love the way that it turned out, kind of like that Vegeta super blue one that I showed you earlier. I did a really big edible image, like a statement edible image, and then had a few other edible images on it. The way that I airbrushed it, the name, just everything about this cake I love so much. And my number one favorite cake that I made in 2023 is this koala bear cake. And while it may not look as exciting as some of the other cakes that I posted, the story behind this one adds to the reason why I love this one so much. So I made this for one of my best customers, Jen, and the cake that I made for her daughter the month prior to making this one, I totally screwed it up. It was horrible. I refunded her the entire amount. I was so distraught over it, and I felt so bad that I ruined this girl's birthday. And I will link this video in the description where I talk about what happened with that cake. But this koala cake was my redemption cake, and I just love the way that it turned out. Jen loved it so much. I love the little bear. And somebody told me it's not a koala bear, it's just a koala, but whatever, I'm gonna say koala bear. And I did film a tutorial showing you how I do this, and I will link that in the description for you. But sometimes my favorite cakes just end up being the simpler ones, and this one, since I totally redeemed myself, like from Dumb and Dumber, it just made me really happy that I didn't quit just because I had a bad week. So there you go. I encourage all of you to take a look back at the pictures of all the cakes that you made this year, and you can see how far you've come. It's one of my favorite things to do is look back at my old pictures and compare them to where I am now. You can just really see how much you've grown. And also take a look at the cakes that you didn't like as much and try to figure out what you learned from them. I'm telling you, I have learned the most from making mistakes when I'm making cakes, because then you know what not to do for next time, and that's how you grow. So I hope you guys like this video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down below. And just a reminder, I do have a Cake Academy membership program where I can help you elevate your cakes to the next level. All of that information is linked in the description. Please like this video if you liked it, and if you're enjoying my tutorials, I would be so grateful if you could buy me a coffee. My link is down below. And I would love it if you would keep in touch on socials, and you can check out my website. And if you want to stick around so you can watch this video next, and hit subscribe and the bell if you haven't already. I love you guys, and I wish you a happy and healthy 2024. I will see you on the next one. Bye.